Hello and thank you for joining the channel. Today we have a really special game from the first round of the Tata Steel Chess Tournament 2025 held in Wijken, Netherlands. A very strong tournament containing strongest grandmasters including Fabiano Caruana, Anish Giri, Nodiber Kabdusatorov, Wei Yi, Arjun Erigaisi, Ramesh Babu Pragnananda, and many others, including of course the world chess champion Domaraju Gukesh. Today we are watching a truly spectacular game of the first round between world chess champion Domaraju Gukesh and Anish Giri, who was playing this game as black. I will not spoil you with any details. The game was really interesting until the very end, simply because the both players went into time trouble and it was a really up and down game until the very end. Very sharp game with sacrifices, and you will enjoy it. So without further ado, we will go straight into the game. Gukesh opens with knight f3. We have read his opening for now. Knight f6 response. We have g3. And after d5, we have bishop to g2. It looks like this game will remind of some Catalan opening. We have c5. And after castle, knight to c6, we have d4 on the board, and we are in Catalan opening. After e6, we have c4 on the board, immediately challenging black's center here. We have d takes on c4. This is of course not a free pawn like in Catalan openings. After this trade, queen a4 is what goes here. White goes here for queen a4, with the idea to immediately take this pawn back and simply not allowing b4, which is sometimes possible. Again, continued with bishop d7, immediately trying to put this queen into a pin. And now firstly d takes on c5. For now there is nothing scary about this this pin, because everything is defended and simply black cannot do anything with this discovered attack. We have bishop takes on c5 and queen takes on c4, attacking this Giri's bishop. Bishop retreats to e7, and right now we have knight to c3 developing move. Black castles, and we have e4 on the board, simply grabbing the center, and later in the game preparing an e5 push when the time allows it, and when it is the right time, of course. Rook to c8, now creating some discovered threats. That is the reason why Gukesh goes queen to e2, and we have a bishop to c5, simply putting the bishop on a much better diagonal, but this allows Gukesh to play bishop g5. Of course you can retreat your bishop back, but h6 was best in this position. And right now we have a surprise on the board with bishop h4 here in only 4 minutes played. It looks like Domaraju Gukesh forgot that he allowed g5 and this bishop will be trapped, but I'm guessing this was all part of his preparation, because after h6 computer actually suggests that much better option here for white was to actually go bishop f6, and after queen takes on f6, e5, pushing this queen, and after queen goes on e7, something like knight to e4 with an equal game, or maybe slightly better for white, but computer gives it a dead equal. But right now, if we go back to bishop h4 right now, this allows g5, which actually happened in the game. So Anish Giri goes for g5. Now this bishop is trapped, but it was all part of the preparation. After bishop takes, h takes on g5, and bishop takes on g5. Now there is some typical sacrifices like this in, let's say, Italian game, but this happens when you simply don't have this dark squared bishop that can go back and protect this knight. So this is not in case here, because black always have this resource to break the pin and protect this knight. So one of the ideas here, firstly e5 was played here for black, which is a great move here. I will show you now. After bishop takes on g5, why immediately bishop e7 wasn't good, which looks for us regular humans that is completely fine move. You simply go bishop e7, and what's the problem? The problem is that after e5, knight will be forced to go back, and right now your king is compromised. After bishop to h6, queen threatens to go on g5 and checkmate you, so you have to be careful. You have to play king to h8, and after bishop takes, rook a to d1, you allowed a much better and active position than what you should have allowed. Of course this rook will fall. I will of course show you what happened in the game, but this is the reason why after bishop takes on g5, e5 was played, because this is already almost not almost, but pawn advantage for white here. So after bishop to g5, we will now go back, of course. After bishop to g5, firstly e5 was played, which is a great move by Anish Giri, and now queen to d2 was played for Domaraju Gukesh. As you can see, Domaraju Gukesh unlike the games where he played for the World Chess Championship. Here he was actually in a sort of a time trouble, and for now this position is 0.7 by computer evaluation. Of course, it is always hard to play as a human, but black stands slightly better here. Queen to d2 was played, bishop retreats to e7, now it's perfectly fine. Now we have bishop to h6 with the same idea, queen to g5 and queen g7 checkmate. So you have to say goodbye to your rook, but you already got a piece, so king to h7 is a great move. Bishop takes on f8, and after bishop takes on f8, this is a slight mistake. Computer prefers actually queen picking up on f8 with the idea to offer this queen for a trade. But after bishop takes on f8, we have f4 on the board. Computer doesn't specifically marks this as a miss or is a slight mistake, because after bishop f8, computer recommends rook a to d1 as the main move, but f4 is perfectly fine. It is not a big mistake. Game continued with bishop to e6, offering a trade of queens here. Of course, Gukesh here wants to attack and he doesn't want to trade. He goes with a queen to d5, or knight to d5, sorry. We have knight to b4 now, trying to pressure this knight here. We have f takes on e5 for Gukesh, and of course Giri doesn't want to take this, but he wants a double pawns for his opponent, and he plays knight to g4 with the idea to later take this pawn when it is allowed, of course. Rook a to d1 is now played, and we have a king to h8 here played for black, and the computer marks this as a brilliant move. After rook a to d1, let's say you play something random, let's say you play a6. There is a small tactic here with knight to f6, so you cannot allow this this check here, because right now after knight takes on f6, firstly you will go queen takes on d8, and after rook takes on d8, rook takes on d8, and you got back your material, and now actually you are in lead. So you don't want to allow this tactic with a discover check, and that is the reason why king h8 was played here for Giri. King to h1, the game continued with for white, which is a mistake here, first mistake of the manager Gukesh of the position, but as you can see, he only has 5 minutes on the clock. Giri finds the amazing rook to c2 move now, putting this king in a lot of trouble for now, you will see. Queen to f4 was played because this queen is attacked, and right now the game continued with the best move of the position with knight takes on d5. Now, if you are wondering what continued, it is queen to f3, which is actually one of the best move of the positions. You could go for e takes on d5 as well, but queen to f3 is slightly better. Game continues with queen to b6 for Giri. Now Anish had a like 7 or 8 minute think, and after queen to f3 he played queen to b6. After queen to b3, after queen to f3, the best actually continuation here was this brilliant rook takes on g2 sacrifice. Rook takes on g2 was the main idea here, and for example now after you go queen takes on g2, which is the best, now knight g goes on e3 here with a fork, and this is what was recommended. Now your queen is attacked. After queen goes on f3, knight picks up on f1, and now you can go e takes on d5, and right now you simply continue with knight takes on e3, and after let's say queen takes on e3, you have bishop takes on d5 with a check, and this is the line of the computer, and this is what computer recommended. Of course, this was a really difficult to find, especially in time trouble. You go for a safer option and you go for queen to b6. We had 2 times queen b6. Let's continue with e takes on d5. We have in the game a rook f2, another amazing move, and for now position is completely equal. Queen now is attacked, and queen goes on a c3. There is not much you can do here after rook to f2. Queen c3 is the best move, and now game continued with bishop to b4, a tempting move here for black, for Giri, but as you can see they are both under 1 minute, and this was not the main move. After queen to c3, there was another thing you can here do, and that is bishop f5. Computer recommends the bishop f5 as the best move, slightly better, but as I mentioned, you cannot find this immediately. By the way, just wanted to show you that after this rook here, if you decide to take this rook, black will take with knight takes on f2 check, and after king goes on g1, we have another discovered attack, and you lose a lot of material, and you simply lose the game. So this is why you cannot go for this. Queen to c3, bishop to b4, slight miss, and right now a queen to c1 is a great move which equalizes the position for Gukesh Domaraju. Game continued with bishop f5. It's okay move. Queen goes on g5. The only move to try and steer the water with some queen checks. Queen h6 is not a possibility, but maybe queen to h5 and stuff like that. You have to try. Bishop f8 was played for Anish Giri to simply have a cover up when this king goes on g8. If you decide to start checking, and now queen to h4 is a huge mistake here. After bishop to f8, the best move was actually to go queen to h5, and after bishop. So this was the best line here. Sorry, no, not this one, but queen to h5 check, and after bishop to h6, let's say, you continue with rook d2 e1, which is like the best move of the position, and by computer evaluation the game is equal, but as you all know, this is a computer and it is really hard and you have less than minutes, so you cannot count that the players will find this sort of moves. So we have queen to h4 check, and right now we have a miss by Anish Giri due to time trouble with bishop to h6. The way this should be played is instead after queen to h4 to go king to g8. And right now you are in a lot of trouble here as white. What you can do? Maybe you can try with queen to g5 check. In that case, you simply block with bishop g7, and right now you cannot allow, by the way, to this rook to be picked up, and you have to go with rook to g1. But then Anish Giri has this brilliant sacrifice with rook picks up on g2. The idea is simple, that if you you have to pick up with your rook. In case you pick up with your king g2, then the game finishes with queen to f2 check, and after king to h1, queen picks up on h2 with a checkmate. So after rook takes on g2, you have to go with rook takes on g2, and right now black has this knight to f2 check. Rook takes, you have to, queen takes, and now after queen f4, offering the queen of the trade of queens, you continue with queen to e2. You don't want to change, you attack your opponent's rook. After queen to d4, bishop e4 check, king to g1, and queen to f3. Black is almost 5 points in the advantage here. It's really difficult. You have a checkmate threats. These bishops will soon start attacking, and although you have 2 pawns and a rook for 2 pieces, these bishop pair are too strong, simply because the king is opened and it is vulnerable, and you will lose your game. So that is why that queen to h4 was a mistake. But as I mentioned, this is not easy to find, especially when you are in time trouble like they both did in that particular situation. So we have bishop to h6, again continues with rook d2 e1, and we have queen picks up on d2. Why not? Anish Giri picks up another pawn, and now we have another huge mistake here by Domaraju Gukesh with h3, pushing and attacking this knight. I will show you what should be played after queen takes on b2. The best way to continue was to actually go for rook takes on f2, and after knight takes on f2 check, king g1, knight g4 simply holds the draw. But after h3, you are in a lot of trouble, because right now we have a brilliant tactic here. If you wish, you can pause the video and try and find the solution for yourself. And the brilliant tactic that Anish Giri missed is bishop to e4. Why is this so brilliant? Because bishop e4 was found, actually. Sorry, what am I talking about? Bishop e4 was found in the game, and it looked like that Anish Giri was winning. Bishop e4 is a devastation in white's position here. What is the main threat? So let's say you pick up this knight here. H takes on g4. Then rook takes on f1 with a check. Rook takes on f1, queen g2 is a checkmate. After bishop to e4, bishop takes on e4. Rook takes on h2 check. King g2, king g1. Rook h1, we have some style points with this checkmate. Bishop takes on h1 or king takes on h1. It's completely the same, because queen h2 is the checkmate. So after h3, a huge mistake. Anish Giri finds the next best move with bishop to e4. Now you might be wondering, the game is over. There is no way that Gukesh will get out of this, but game continues with knight picks up on f2 here. Sorry about that. First, after bishop to e4, we have rook picks up on f2, which is the best move, and after knight takes on f2 check, king g1, pretty much the only move, since king g1 is the only move, because after knight to f2, if you go king to h2, which looks fine, we have knight to g4 check, and right now there is a checkmate threat here. You can basically pick it up with your queen or with your pawn, whatever you do. Queen takes on g2 is a checkmate. So after knight picks up on f2, king goes on g1. Right now, what should follow is the same idea with knight to g4 here, but in the game, queen b6 was played by Anish Giri. Unfortunately, he couldn't find the continuation, and as you can see, what I spoiled before, sorry about the spoilers, queen to b6, and you see the evaluation jumping immediately. Why? Because this simply allows queen to f6. But we will go back and see what would happen after king to g1. What would happen right now if the knight to g4, the best move, was played. Let's see what you can do here as a black. The main idea is that right now there is a checkmate threat on g2. If you decide to pick up this bishop takes on e4, we already saw this, that queen takes on f2 check, king h1, and there is another checkmate here. After knight to g4, h takes on g4 immediately falls to queen takes on g2 is a checkmate. After knight to g4, the only way to continue is to sacrifice your queen by computer suggestion here, and after knight takes on h6, to go with rook takes on e4 to survive this game, but you are 4 pawns down, 4 pawns advantage for black here by computer evaluation. You have a rook and 2 pawns for a queen, which is not enough of compensation. Your king is compromised and you might try to play, but this is in this sort of a time trouble, it is really difficult. After knight to g4, you might try with queen to d8, but after king to g7, you are simply left out of checks. Computer recommends now queen f6, knight takes, e takes on f6 check, king goes on f8, and after rook picks up on e4, bishop g5 with again 2 pawns and a rook for a queen, which is simply not enough in this position, especially with your king vulnerable and this bishop getting ready to infiltrate. So we had queen to b6, a huge miss by Anish Giri, probably due to time pressure. And after that, Domaraju Gukesh finds this brilliant queen f6 check, queen takes on f6, e takes on f6, and bishop takes on g2. The best move, because simply now after king takes on g2, knight to d3, rook 8 check. Unfortunately, this pawn is really a menace in your position. You cannot approach your king. If you can somehow magically turn yourself with your king here, you might try for something, but although this position, white is simply a material up. Yes, you have 2 pieces, but white has a rook and a 2 pawns, so, and your pieces are uncoordinated here, and this is just simply a game over. The ending is really easy, the technique. You continue with d6. Right now, knight to c5 is the only move to protect, and right now we have rook to e5 attacking this knight, and after knight goes on d7, you play rook to e7, again attacking this knight, and in this moment on the move 42, after they went into sorry about that, Domaraju Gukesh was already in, as you can see, from 47, he already additional time. After knight to d7, rook to e7, Anish also got into got his time back, so he got additional 50 minutes, but this was simply not enough. Rook e7, and the game ended here. The technique is easy. Rook e7, knight, let's say, goes on b6. You can continue with d7. You can either go with rook takes on f7 with a check, and let's say now king to g6. You continue with d7. You can continue this way. You simply allow this to trade, and now after knight takes on d7, rook takes on d7, or even easier, after d7 here, what will you do? You have to go knight takes on d7. Now you can go like this way, let's say, and after that you pick up this knight and you pick up this pawn here, and bye bye black. Pretty much 2 connected passed pawns, this pawn will fall, and there is nothing you can do here. This is a simply winning here. And this is how this wonderful game ended, guys. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please make sure to leave a comment, like, and share this video with other people who enjoy chess. If you enjoy my content, consider subscribing. I also stream, try to be more frequent, not that frequent, unfortunately. I'm also a student of chess myself, studying the chess on my own, trying to improve my rating and my knowledge. And yeah, guys, I look forward to your comments. I like replying to them, and I wish you a pleasant day. Bye bye.